This Sun-Gazette video coverage is proudly sponsored by Woodlands Bank.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Sports Talk. We're breaking down Week 5 football here with Henry Huber and the doctor, Chris Massey. Let's kind of get into it here. Some good games here on the schedule for this week. Kind of start right away with Selinsgrove at Williamsport. Massey, how much do you feel this is going to be kind of a big test for Williamsport? I mean, the Millionaires are 4-0, but do you think this is kind of one of their toughest games so far?
Yeah, it probably will be their toughest. Hazleton was a pretty good one too, and Hazleton's 2-2, has won 2 straight since then. But yeah, I mean, anytime you're playing Selinsgrove, it's always a good test. And they lost a lot of great players from their state semifinalists last year, but they're still Selinsgrove. Mm-hmm. They're still a dangerous team, and they took care of Central Mountain. So I mean, you can never just say, oh, well, they both beat Central Mountain in similar fashion, so that means that's not how the game's played, but I think it gives you a feel of they're both kind of on the same level. And this Jersey Shore next week and Shamokin the week after that. So 3 straight really tough games for Williamsport. We're gonna start finding out a lot about them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as I say, Henry, you're going to be at that game this week. What do you think is going to kind of be key for Williamsport in this one?
I'd say just how they respond to a closer game. I imagine this is going to be a test for them. My prediction would just be that you'd maybe take to the third or fourth quarter for a team to break away. Mm-hmm. So just how they respond there, I'm blanking.
No, you're fine. I was just saying, I was going to mention about Elijah Way. You've seen him play a quarterback. Do you think he'll kind of? Do you think the offense? He'll have to kind of be the catalyst for that offense to get going if they want to do something.
Yeah, I would expect they're going to need him to perform well for them to get out strong against Selinsgrove. He really impressed me in his opener. Showed a lot of poise there. So.
Jersey Shore, Beth, you're going to be at this one. Jersey Shore at Shikellamy. Tough matchup for the Braves, getting an extremely mad Jersey Shore team coming off that tough loss.
Yeah, they might be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Shikellamy, they're 0-4, but I thought they have a lot of playmakers on that team. I'm kind of surprised they're struggling the way they are. I thought they'd be a lot better this year. So, but like you said, Jersey Shore I think's going to be in a bad mood. I think they're going to want to. I think they probably can't wait to get back out on the field, try to erase or try to get that taste out of their mouths from last week. So they're going to be tough to stop. I think Shikellamy will, try to put up a good fight, but it's going to be hard to stop the Bulldogs.
Mm. And I will say they played very well defensively against Williamsport, held them to 20 points there. So I'm interested to see if they're what they do against Jersey Shore. Mm. Granted, as you said, they're mad. So.
Yeah, they don't want to be at this point in the schedule like, oh, now we get an extremely mad Jersey Shore team coming to town.
And Shikelamy's this is the 4th straight undefeated team that they've played. So they've definitely been through the ringer, and they got to be thinking, man, when does it lighten up?
Montoursville hosted Mount Carmel, in which I think that's going to be a good game. Montoursville's kind of, it's early in the season, but they're hitting some strides well here, and they're making some progress. And Mount Carmel with a huge upset win last. Well, I don't know if you consider it an upset because Mount Carmel is playing well, but they beat Southern, and they did come up with a win against Southern.
Yeah, that was a coin toss game. I was shocked at the final score. Not that Mount Carmel won. I was shocked that it was 7-6.
Yeah.
I thought it would be close, but I thought it would be like 35-34 like it was, because Mount Carmel had been scoring a bunch of points, but they had been giving up a lot too the first 3 weeks, and Southern had been scoring a lot. So the lows, I thought it was huge for Mount Carmel's defense to play the way that they did, and from Montoursville's perspective, I think you probably actually like that they beat Southern, because maybe Mount Carmel comes in a little inflated, or maybe they have a letdown, and But I think these two teams are evenly matched. I think Montoursville is definitely capable of winning the game. Whether they do, we'll find out.
Yeah, like I was going to say, I think this is going to be a really good one.
Yeah, no, I mean, Montoursville's like they've already had some tough games, so they're battle tested. I think they'll be up to the challenge.
Bloomsburg, Loyalsock hosting Bloomsburg this week. I think Loyalsock. I would say they have. I think the advantage in this one. I think that favors them a little bit in this matchup.
Yeah, I would label them a slight favorite. I think Bloom's is a dangerous 1-3 team. They lost to Lewisburg, Danville, and Warrior Run, all undefeated teams. So they've been battle tested. And they had a fourth quarter lead against Warrior Run last week. So they've got an exciting offense. Wyatt Brocious at quarterback. He made a run at 2,000 yards last year. Jari Morris Stewart's a really good freshman, running back, receiver, kind of a hybrid player. He's scored in every game. Jack Catullus is a good receiver and linebacker. So I don't think it'll be easy for Sock. I think this is going to be a tough one, but I like the way Loyalsock's playing right now too.
Yeah, I mean they're getting a lot of momentum since the Southern loss. Very strong win against Hughesville and. Blanking on who they played last week, but I
battered Midwest last week.
Yeah,
54-6.
So,
I think it was 41-0 at halftime.
Yeah. So I mean, they've clearly responded well.
Yeah, their offense has been playing well these last two as well, and getting the grooves kind of worked out.
Yeah, I mean, blanking for the third time, running.
Dolan Harmon.
Yeah, I mean, he was like astoundingly good against Hughesville. Ran for. I think almost 200, around 200.
Yeah. Like 184, I think.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's a solid back.
That battering ram was, he was just breaking a lot of tackles.
Yep,
so.
yeah.
And Danny Dow's been playing well at quarterback, and Julio Coates and Derek Culp at receiver, so they have some nice balance they can rely on too.
You mentioned Midwest with Loyalsock. They have to travel to Hughesville. Midwest is they're struggling this year, and I think this one will be another one they kind of struggle against a good Hughesville team.
Yeah, I think Hughes, even whether Blake Davis plays or not, I think Hughesville's a heavy favorite here. And if Davis can't go, hopefully he can, because he's a senior and he's having a great season. But if he can't, I like what sophomore Connor Onstadt did at the end of the game, running the offense on the final. Hughesville's last drive, he showed a lot of potential. But yeah, Hughesville's got I think they just have too many playmakers for Midwest in this one.
Exactly.
Yeah, I imagine though, even with Handstadt, they'll be able to get the ball to Connor Knight, who's been having an incredible year.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm I think the defense will bounce back from 2 30-point games against Loyalsock and Lewisburg.
Yep. Montgomery at Canton. I think this could be a good one because I think in a lot of ways they kind of mirror one another.
Yeah, this is one of the more, maybe for me, maybe the most intriguing game of the week. Williamsport, Selinsgrove, and Mount Carmel, Montoursville, and there's another one we'll get to. Those are all great games, but I'm really fascinated by this one because Canton's dominated Montgomery for years. Montgomery's only beaten them once since 2005, but I love the way the Raiders are playing, and having seen them both play, I think Montgomery has an advantage up front. I think Canton's got a lot of great playmakers. They've scored 93 points the last 2 weeks, but they've also given up 88 points. So you look at Montgomery's defense has been stifling the last 2 weeks. Canton's offense has been video game-ish. Something's got to give there, and it's fascinating to see how that game plays out.
Yeah, I mean, especially just with them, riding the momentum of being an undefeated team and why you lose thing 28-3. I think they have a lot of confidence right now.
And I think too, this one, if Montgomery can go on the road and beat Canton, I think that's a huge confidence boost for the Raiders too.
Yeah, if they were able to go up there and get that win, that would maybe be a program changer. I think there's certain wins over the years. Jersey Shore, I think, had a program-changing win in 2013 against Milton in the regular season and Selinsgrove in the final. I think when you look at what Canton's done the last 6 years, if Montgomery could go up there on their home field and win, they're already building something good, but I think that would take it to another level in terms of their belief and confidence.
I mean, like, what would you say would be like their like the biggest win since if they were to pull it off?
For Montgomery, yeah, that's a good point. They'd probably the biggest win since they beat Muncie in the old shoe game in 2018. So yeah, I mean that's 6 years, so that would be huge. And then they play Muncie next week, so they've got these next 2 weeks are pretty fascinating to see how it plays out for Montgomery.
Yeah, I think that's definitely going to be a good one for Montgomery Can. So if fans up at Can, if you won a good game, I definitely suggest going to that one.
I think that'll be a great game.
Next year on the schedule, Massey's one. I think we were talking about the other day in the office. Lewisburg at Warrior Run, 2 4-0 teams, 2 teams with really good offenses too. Yeah. I think fans that are at this game, I think are going to get a really good show.
Yeah, I think this will be an awesome game. I think they're about as evenly matched as can be. Warrior Run, James Kiefer's leading the area with 11 touchdowns. Sam Hall is putting up huge numbers at receiver. They can run the ball too. And then Lewisburg, we talked about Jeremiah Davis, but Chase Wenrick's coming alive at quarterback. Jalen Walker and Nick Coleman are good receivers. Yep. So both teams have a lot of ways to beat you, and their defenses have been pretty good too. So, first time Warrior Run's been 4-0 in the 2000s. First time Lewisburg's been 4-0 since 2010. So it's really, I don't want to say intriguing, but it's a great matchup. When you see the way both teams have kind of built themselves up over the last year or two.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely going to agree there. That's going to be a coin flip when it comes to me making my picks this week.
Yeah, that's
true. Me too.
That was one I had to kind of go back and forth on. But I think this could be one of those games where whoever gets the ball kind of with the last 2 possessions, that could be kind of the difference maker.
Yeah, and Warrior Run's. They've rallied twice in the fourth quarter to win games, and Lewisburg came back against Line Mountain. So I think both are comfortable in these close, in what I think will be a close game. So I think that helps too, that they've been through the fire, so to speak, already, and could come down to a turnover here or there that makes the biggest difference in the game.
I was gonna say, if Warrior Run wins, our former coworker Jake Felix will probably be ecstatic that his alma mater's 5-0.
Yeah. He'd be dancing in the streets.
Danville at Milton. Danville's obviously a really tough team, real solid. Do you think Milton's kind of comeback win last week will kind of give them a little extra boost of confidence going in against a tough one?
It'll help, but it's going to be pretty tough again. I mean, Danville's just so loaded. Matt Patrick became only the fourth quarterback in D4 history to reach 80 career touchdown passes, and Bo Sheptock is running wild. I think he's had 3 200-yard games in the backfield. Cole Duffy's one of the best receivers. I said on Twitter they're kind of the modern day version or high school version of the triplets, the old Cowboys, Aikman, Emmitt Smith, and Michael Irvin.
It's kind of unfortunate we have to mention who they are for our younger viewers.
I know that is disappointing. A lot of people liked it on Twitter, so hopefully they understood the reference. But yeah, I think Milton will fight hard. They always do, but I just think they're going to be outmatched in this one.
I was going to say, Henry, kind of going off that, do you think Milton's defense is going to have to really buckle down to do something?
Yeah. I mean, the last time I covered Danville would have been the District 4 Class 3A title. And I mean, I think Bo Sheptock ran for over 200 yards. And I'm trying to think what Madden did. But I mean, it definitely seems they're building off of last year. I mean, I had looked at a few scores before. I know they've blown a few teams out of the water and beat a 3-1 Montoursville squad by 24. They look very good.
Yeah. Danville's they're one of those teams that you're going to be in for a handful no matter what every week. Some last ones here to kind of hit on. We'll just kind of do kind of what you think kind of the key of the game is going to be for these ones here. North Penn Mansfield at Athens.
For North Penn, they got to contain Connor Davidson. He's an awesome playmaker for Athens. He put up almost 400 yards of offense against Canton when I saw him. He's only a sophomore too, so they got to find a way to neutralize him, especially as a runner, and then hopefully keep doing what they're doing in the vertical game. I would have loved to have seen North Penn play Canton last week because there were 727 passing yards and 9 touchdowns in that game.
That's your type of game.
Yeah, I would have been in heaven. And Luke Krager for North Penn. Well, Cooper Shaw threw for 430 yards, but Luke Krager's been pretty amazing at receiver, and he had 9 catches for 264. So I think single game wise, I think that's the third or fourth. I think might be the 4th highest in area history for single yards in one game, and he's only a junior.
I don't have anything to add.
No worries. It's like on the Barry Gibb talk show when he asked Robin if he got anything to add. He's like, no.
I got nothing to add.
Central Mountain at Shamokin. I think Central Mountain, obviously, they're still searching for that first win, but it's definitely a tough one to go to Shamokin.
Yeah, from Central Mountain's perspective, you're kind of hoping that maybe Shamokin's having a letdown after last week, but either way, it's Shamokin's really good, and I like what Central Mountain's building with all these young players. It's just they've had a really tough schedule. Williamsport, Selinsgrove, Shamokin, now all back to back. They still have to play Troy and Jersey Shore, so. I think their progress has to be measured in more than what their record says. I think they're building something positive, but this is going to be a tough one.
Yeah. I was going to say, do you think it's one of those things where Central Mountain just kind of has to take the little things they do right and kind of build off that?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Just, get Hunter Hoy more confident but behind center. And, yeah, I mean, see if you can get some defensive stops against a hot Shamokin offense.
Yeah. Where are we here on the list? Sorry. Muncie at Sayre. Obviously, Sayre's they're in for a tough. That's just tough for Sayre against an offense like Muncie, which has just been steamrolling these past few weeks.
Yeah, Sayre has a dynamic playmaker in Nick Pelicano. He's got 3 kick returns for touchdowns and 4 receiving touchdowns, but they're allowing 515 yards per game and over 50 points a game. So, I mean, I think Muncie runs wild in this one. I don't see Sayre being able to contain them.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think the key is give Landon and Austin the ball and just tell them.
Yeah, I mean, let's see if they can match what they did in the first quarter last week.
Yeah,
they're just building on what you said. Just give them the ball and run. Just run, Austin, run, Landon, run like Forrest Gump. Except they don't have to put up the stop signs and stuff.
Baz, what's kind of the key for this one? You're Kawaneski at Wellsboro.
That's an interesting game. For Cal Valley, I think they got to try to contain Ryder Bowen, the hard-nosed running back for Wellsboro. For Wellsboro, they have to neutralize Dave Hess. He had a video-type game in their win against Sayre. He had 195 receiving on only 3 catches and 129 rushing. So I think 324 yards, 5 touchdowns. So he's the epitome of a big play threat. So, yeah, try to neutralize him in the big plays that Cal Valley's made and contain Bowen and try to make Wellsboro beat him through the air.
Bucktail at Smethport. Bucktail, like Central Mountain, hasn't been able to get that win, struggling a bit. But Brody Pence he's been doing everything he can to kind of keep Bucktail in games. And I think I think they have a winnable one this week.
Yeah, this is Smethport, kind of the same boat they are. And you mentioned Pence, and unfortunately they only have 8 games on their schedule. But he's average. If you extrapolate his averages for rushing and passing for over a 10-game regular season, he would easily end up with over 1,000 passing yards and rushing yards. So he's dynamic. And Bucktail fights, they against Ottawa, the last 2 games, they only have 15, 16 players, but they've dominated the fourth quarter in the last 2 games. So, they'll never lay down. They'll keep fighting, and I think this will be a good 4-quarter battle.
Yeah, I mean, I think with a team like Bucktail that as you said, they have a 15, 16 man roster. I think they're gonna really bring it for these games that are against similar opponents to them. And,
yeah, and obviously when you have that few on the roster, you can't really be picky with who plays what position. You gotta. I mean, they can't even do a full 11 on 11 practice, but they don't have enough.
A lot of times the coaches have to have to get involved and just to give them looks. So it's definitely different.
Yeah, but they have passion up there for their football
They do.
team.
I for years I've had a great admiration for what they do with the limited numbers that they have. It takes a special kind of player, I think, to face those long odds and do what they do and pretty much never come off the field.
Yep, exactly. Real quick hitters here with local college. Like coming at Utica, Lyco's coming off a 70-point loss to the defending national champs in Cortland. A tough one for them, but I think if you're Mike Clark and Lyco, you just kind of have to shake that one off and just get back at it.
Yeah, I mean it's Cortland. They scored 76 in their opener. Like they did last year. They're just like they just have to. They can't get down. They have to bring in.
Yep.
Yeah, I like, but I think you just kind of forget about the Cortland game because they're a power out there, a juggernaut. Mm-hmm. But I like what they did against Widener in the opener. Yeah. So I think there's good times ahead for Lyco.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. California, PA at Lock Haven, tough one for Lock Haven. But they met on IUP real tough last week in a game that I think in previous years IUP just kind of cruises over them.
Steamroller.
Yeah, so credit to Coach Dan Maroon. He's really turning around Lock Haven and getting them kind of as a competitor in the PSAC now.
Yeah, I mean, I like based off of what they've done, the rebuild is definitely it's definitely paying off. They're like really coming together. I mean, yeah, like IUP is a very strong Division II team. So just the fact that they held in there, shows what they're capable of.
Yep.
It's making it harder in the weekly picks because that used to be an easy win. You just pick against Lock Haven and you were going to win. And
you would take in that first game against back when
Lincoln,
Lincoln.
Back when Cheney still out
Cheney,
of program,
that's right, yeah.
Where my dad went to school. He is a proud Cheney alum from the football team. And I don't think they won back that much either.
And then last game to hit on here, Marist at Bucknell. Bucknell's a tough team to get a read on. They look good one week, they look bad the next. It's hard to try to gauge them.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say I picked them against Mary Mac last year. I thought that was a more sure win than VMI, but then they lost. So I'm be the same story. I'll probably flip a coin. For
exactly.
That
one. Yeah, the last 2 weeks I've been wrong on them. I thought VMI would beat them, and then I thought, but they're turning the corner, and nope, they lost to Merrimack. So yeah, it's hard to get a read. Like last year, they had some surprising wins too. And they're kind of hard to figure out. Feels like they're on the cusp of a breakout, but they're not there yet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right, well, that'll do it for Sports Talk this week. We'll be back next week with to break down Week 5 and look ahead to Week 6.
And probably talk about that amazing Kent State-Penn State game coming up.
That's going to be a good one.
Yeah, Kent State is a power. Kudos for scheduling that one.
Fresh off of Tennessee,
yeah, fresh off of 71-0 loss to Tennessee.
37 in the first quarter.
Yeah.
Like I said in game day 2 weeks ago, I was like, or 3 weeks. I dare you to find a tougher 2-game stretch than Bowling Green at Kent State.
Yeah, it doesn't get much tougher than that. Kudos to Big Game James.